In the figure below, which two angles appear to be obtuse? Okay, so I told you we could use a sticky note, or if you don't have a sticky note, you could just use a regular piece of paper and use the corner of it to figure out if it's obtuse or acute or if it's right. They've gone ahead and they've given each of our angles a number so we know which angle they're talking about. I'm going to start with angle 1. And for angle 1, if I use my sticky note and I try to match the corner of my sticky note with the corner of my angle, I can see that angle 1 has some parts that are just sticking out. It doesn't fit correctly. It's a little bit too big. If my angle is too big, that means it's an obtuse angle. So I'm going to put an O there. Now it does say which two angles appear to be obtuse. So I already know one of them. I know that angle 1 is obtuse. So I can get rid of answer choice D. It says angles 2 and 4. I've got 3 answer choices left though, so I can't just pick one yet. I'm going to go ahead and just go in order, and I'm going to take a look at angle 2 since the next one. Again, I'm going to use my sticky note. I'm going to put it into the corner. And again, I'm going to see that this angle is too big as well. It's also sticking out. Since this angle is sticking out, it's too big. This is also an obtuse angle. So angle 1 and angle 2. My answer was A. If I do go ahead and I check angle 3 and 4, I can see that angle 3, it's a little bit too small for it. When I try to put the corner of my sticky note into the corner of the angle, I see that it's not big enough. Part of my angle is covered up. That makes angle 3 an acute angle. And the same thing happens when I check angle 4. I try to put the corner of the sticky note there, but there's not enough room. The angle is too small, so angle 4 is also acute. So the answer should have been answer choice A. Okay, question 2. Which of these shapes could not have an obtuse angle? This is something I've talked to you guys about before. When a question says not, it's very, very easy to make a mistake and get confused and pick the wrong answer. To help with that, whenever I see not next to my answer choices, I put a Y for yes and an N for no next to each answer choice. A yes and a no. This way, I can say for each answer choice either yes, it can have an obtuse angle, or no, it cannot have an obtuse angle. The other thing I told you is whenever they give you a question and they're asking you about shapes, if they do not give you a picture of the shape, draw one yourself. F says triangle. They're looking for an obtuse angle. Let's try that out. If I have an obtuse angle, like this, can I make it a triangle? Absolutely. Yes, this can have an obtuse angle. A trapezoid. Well, we just saw one in question 1. And in question 1, the trapezoid that we found had 2 obtuse angles. So yes, a trapezoid can have obtuse angles. A parallelogram. That one I did tell you that parallelograms can be kind of tricky to draw. But the easiest way that I've found, you draw a straight line for the bottom, and then instead of making straight lines up and down like you would for a rectangle, draw diagonal lines like that, and then you make the top. There's my parallelogram. Now, can a parallelogram have obtuse angles? Yes, absolutely. That can be obtuse, that can be obtuse. And in this case, I would have two obtuse and two acute angles, actually. So yes, a parallelogram can have an obtuse angle. The last answer choice is a rectangle. Now there's something before we took the test, something very specific I told you about rectangles and about squares. One of the rules for a rectangle or for a square is that they have to have 4 right angles. A rectangle or a square cannot have any other kinds of angles. They have to all be right angles. That's why we're able to use something like a sticky note to check for right angles, because sticky notes are square and squares have to have right angles. That's also why we can use a piece of paper, because pieces of paper are rectangles and rectangles have to have right angles. That's why we're able to use them to check to see what kind of angles we have. So a rectangle, no, it cannot have anything except for a right angle, which means my answer has to be J. And again, this is why I put yes and no next to my answer choices, because if I don't, I might just go triangles. Yeah, they have obtuse angles, and circle answer choice F. Or say trapezoids. Yeah, they can have obtuse angles, and circle answer choice G. Or say parallelograms. Yeah, those can have obtuse angles, and circle answer choice H. But that's not what they wanted. Question 3. Which number or numbers below appear to have only one line of symmetry? Remember, symmetry means that if I have a line, I could fold or I could cut the shape using that line, and I would have two congruent parts. Same size, same shape. So they want something with only one line of symmetry. They give me the number 0, the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4. Well, number 0 has a line of symmetry vertically, up and down. If I were to fold the number 0 like that, both sides would be equal. If I were to go horizontally, I could fold it like that, and again, both sides would be equal. That means that 0 has 2 lines of symmetry. They want only 1. So I want to get rid of an answer choice because it has the number 0 on there. Yes, Jadine? Never mind. Okay, the number 2. The number 2 doesn't have any lines of symmetry. If I try going horizontally, the bottom won't match the top. If I try going vertically, the left won't match the right. If I try to go diagonally, it wouldn't match. The number 2 has no lines of symmetry. So I want to get rid of anything with the number 2. That only leaves me with one option. Number 3 has 1 line of symmetry. I can't make a vertical line of symmetry because the left won't match with the right, but if I make a horizontal line, the top would match the bottom. So it's got one line of symmetry. And the number 4, just like the number 2, doesn't have any lines of symmetry. There's no way that I could fold it or cut it and get 2 congruent parts. So my answer should have been D, number 3 only. Question 4. Which statement about the following figures appears to be true? Okay, so they want something true. That's fine, it's fair enough. F says figures P and Q are congruent. This is one of the things that I know we wrote down as notes on our test taking skills. Congruent means the same size and the same shape. If I look at figures P and Q, they are about the same size, but they are not the same shape. So I can't pick answer choice F. They are not congruent. G, figures Q and R have 2 pairs of perpendicular sides. This was something else we wrote down in our notes. Perpendicular means that the lines cross and they make right angles, which means I'm looking for 2 right angles in figures Q and R. Figure Q is a rectangle. So if I go and I check figure Q, I'm going to find 4 right angles. Okay, so it has at least 2, but look at figure R. If I try to put the corner of my sticky note into any of these angles, I can see that all of them, every single angle, is too small. If the angle is too small, that means it's an acute angle. Every single one is acute. So no, figure R does not have 2 pairs of perpendicular sides. H, figures P and R have all acute angles. Figure R does. Check figure P. If I try to put the corner of my sticky note into that angle, I've got a side that sticks out here. It's too big. If the angle is too big, that makes this an obtuse angle. I could keep checking the rest of these angles, but I don't really have to, because it says that they have all acute angles. I already know that figure P does not have all acute angles, because at least one angle is obtuse. J, figures Q and S have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Like we said earlier, figure Q is a rectangle. So yes, it absolutely does have 2 pairs of parallel sides. The left and the right side would be parallel. No matter how far I stretch them out, they would never ever touch. The top and the bottom are parallel. And no matter how long I stretch those out, they would never ever touch. Figure S. Figure S is a rhombus. One of the things we know about rhombuses is they also have 2 pairs of parallel sides. These 2 would never ever touch. And these 2 would never ever touch. So answer choice J is correct. Both figure Q and figure S have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Rectangles will always have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Rhombuses will always have 2 pairs of parallel sides.